What is going on, everybody? Corrosive Bullet here, and today we are going to be doing the deck profile and showcasing gameplay for the yellow Vegeta in set 5 of Fusion World. So this is a deck that I really liked when it first came out in set 2, and the only downside to it back then was that it didn't really have a lot of good support. And oddly enough, little by little over the past couple sets, we've received a lot of support for this deck. Maybe not necessarily direct support, but we've gotten quite a bit that's able to kind of really help this guy stand out. So today we're just going to talk about what I'm running in the deck, my thought process in terms of my building, and then just kind of showcase you guys some games that we played going up the rank ladder. So obviously, Leader's whole gimmick is at the end of his turn, he switches up 2 energy from rest mode to active. And then so we look at what he kind of does. And we obviously want to utilize this to the best of our abilities. So, for example, we obviously are utilizing the new Janemba from set 5, being able to just self-awaken while only paying him for 2 energy as opposed to 3 energy because you get energy back. And then resting something on the board adds into the control aspect of this deck. The Boo is great because it allows us to basically replace him in hand by removing a cantrip, while also removing cards out of our opponent's hand. He's a 25k body for against 25k leaders. Obviously the new Secret Rare Frieza is great in terms of control and removal. The turn that you're playing this, you're usually playing this on turn 3 with marker or at 4 energy and just not getting the ability for removal. But he is a barrier card, so therefore he is hard to remove without swinging into him, which is good. And then the rest of this is just kind of standard black stuff. We obviously got, or not black stuff, yellow stuff. We got double cantrips going, 6 cantrips. We have 3 of this Bulma to get our extra cards back. 4 of this Frieza on the off chance that we need to rest something important. Goku to control to freeze stuff down. 2 of this Majin Vegeta, or 3 of this Majin Vegeta. 3 of the Majin Vegeta to obviously get double swings in, control, remove something on board. This Vegeta we're only running out of 2 of just because he's a 0 combo card, and against certain matchups this card's a little bit harder to remove, so or a little easier to remove. Like red has a hard time with the minusing this guy down. Black outside of 1 or 2 cards doesn't really have a great means of being able to remove this due to his energy restriction. Green can remove this easily. Yellow can, to an extent, can remove this, or at least lock it down. Blue has the easiest time of removing this, but it's certain builds that really kind of require that. And then we got 6 cost Frieza for obviously the red matchup for when we have to deal with Broly's, or we have to deal with UI Gokus. And then as a little bit of extra gimmick, I have the double striker here, going into either this Boo or this Boo. I'm honestly thinking of maybe changing this guy out for this, just because we're mostly utilizing this for the 10k combo. But I also like the idea of having this to play out for cheap, to put in some cheap aggression as well. So that's the deck build. I mean, the extra cards are also relatively standard. 2 final explosions, some Hell Rock Sashas to help rest our opponent's stuff down, time rewound, death ball, blah 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 blah. You guys know the deal. So that's the deck list. Let's kind of get into the games. All right, so this first match was against Jiren, and I was already kind of feeling a little, a little skeptical about this match, because obviously Jiren is a bit of a harder deck for us to kind of go into. He's kind of red. He likes to play the slow game. So I was a little skeptical and worried in this particular matchup. Now, what ended up throwing me off was this guy's build. This guy's build was extremely unconventional for what it was. So obviously all we're doing is just putting out cantrip because there's not really much else that we can really do. Yeah, and he didn't play anything here, which allows us to just play Janemba out early to rest it down and just get rid of it. I think that's what we did, right? No, that's not what we did. Okay. Oh, it's next turn. Next turn we started doing it. So as you can see, you can already kind of see the weirdness in this guy's build. He's got Ganos. And Ganos, I wouldn't say is a terrible card in this format, in this deck. But the problem is that he requires you to swing into battle cards. It's been a while since I actually came across this card. This is a set 2 card, if I remember correctly. Right? Set 2. And I completely forgot that he actually, when he's in a battle with a battle cards can't swing into this. So, obviously, I made the mistake here. Obviously, I made the mistake here. I decided to, obviously, protect this. Because we have the means to be able to do so. And we can get it out of any further attacks as well. So, so while he's sitting here kind of focusing on us, we're at 11 cards, obviously. So we're just kind of like playing the field. We're not real worried about going into Jiren all that much. We just want to try to keep board clear as best as we possibly can. And obviously he doesn't like that. So obviously we start to whittle him down just a little bit since we can't really do anything with Ganos until after we play the Frieza. And obviously we protect this too. So. And now we can start getting some removal in. Obviously we're going to commit resources to removing the Jiren over the Ganos. Because Jiren is just that bigger of an issue. And this was fine. I wasn't looking to win this fight. I just wanted to not swing into lead. And so at this point, I'm just like, all right, well, let's focus this down to get his hand down a little bit. And we'll pass turn because obviously... Obviously, like, we're not going to swing into life. We're not going to swing into Ganos. So, this is a relatively long game. And then he plays the 6-cost Zeno, and the 6-cost Zeno obviously takes care of our board. It just wasn't what I was expecting. I was expecting Secret Rare to come down. Which clearly just didn't happen. And again, we're just going to play our Secret Rare, just on the off chance that he does have 6-cost Goku, UI Goku. We don't necessarily want him to be playing the Secret Rares down. So, playing this, obviously, I don't know if that was necessarily a misplay or not, but it gives him a swing with lead, I guess. So we just protect it. We're not worried about this at all. And then he hits overed. So I guess like that was the majority of his turn. And we decided to just get his hand down. And we swing into him, and obviously he's going to take it. So now it's kind of getting down to the wire. We're still not seeing any sort of Secret Rare. He's running Frost of all things in this deck, which was kind of crazy. So I decided to go down to 2 just because he didn't really play anything that was like all that detrimental. And he didn't once go for our Bulma, which I think is going to be the turning point of this match. So obviously we're getting rid of Jiren. And we're going to play Bulma to get a time rewound back. And then we're going to KO the Bulma so that he has to go down to 5 cards. And we're still just kind of like doing our thing. But at this point, we can play Frieza and we can get rid of his other Topo. And now he's down to 1. So now we know he can't play Jiren anymore without risking taking life. He can't play Topos. So at this point, I'm thinking that it's relatively game. But he has this Vegeta. And we decide to take it because obviously we have enough here to defend ourselves if he decides to play a third one. But he didn't have a third one. He just had another double striker, to which we obviously can get out of this just fine. So, relatively scary match. Didn't really know what I was expecting into it, and it was an interesting build, but I don't think the build itself was necessarily it. Either way, let's go on to the next one. Alright, so this next one's up against Janemba, and Janemba, the mirror is probably one of our hardest matchups with this deck. Janemba is doing this almost the exact same thing that Vegeta is, in the sense that he is a fully built like control and energy manip type of leader. The downside being, or the difference being, is that Vegeta plays a little bit slower, and Janemba is able to just kind of outpace us in a lot of ways. So if we did like back-to-back Janemba fights here, and we did back-to-back Janemba fights, and it was kind of hard. Like, it was kind of hard to get around and figure out like what the means of being able to like what the play line is. And I say it's hard because for me, I've only ever come across a few yellow Vegeta decks since he came out in set 2. Like set 2, I saw him quite a bit, but like set 3 and onwards, I maybe could count the number of times I played yellow Vegeta on one hand. So for me, I'm like, how in the world does this matchup work? I can't really figure this out. So TLDR, I lost both of these matches against Janemba. The second match, I think I had a better idea in terms of how to approach the fight against this deck. I made one or two mistakes in the first match where I probably could have played like different play lines and gone differently here. But for me, I'm just kind of like trying to stall him out, build up my board where I can. I didn't want to swing into him because I didn't want him doing like any crazy plays. I didn't want him to necessarily like start putting out his big bodies when we can't even get our big bodies out just yet. And we kind of end turn here because we got a couple of extra cards. We got plenty of defensive potential here. And next turn we can play a Frieza and get rid of this Bio Broly if we need to. So I decided to just start swinging, obviously. We KO this so we can draw a card and then also force him to take down a card. And that might have been my first mistake. I probably could have gotten rid of this Bio Broly and been perfectly fine. Because we only had... No, we couldn't get rid of the Broly because he wasn't in rest mode. So that was the first mistake, was that we didn't really have a means to like rest it and remove it. So that was like my one mistake here. And I think I made the same exact mistake in the first match that I played too. So that was just kind of something that... it just didn't cross my mind at the time of the match. But we still had plenty of removal. We still had plenty of stuff to work with. It is just going to start getting a little bit harder for us to be able to defend. Excuse me, defend. Because obviously a lot of the stuff that we're running, Janemba's also running too, and he's just able to do it a little bit better because he can bring 2 energy back, like, during his turn, whereas we have to wait till after our turn to be able to do it. So being able to get 2 energy back during as opposed to after your turn does so much more for your deck. At least when you're comparing these two, right? So I decided to play the double striker and go all in. Maybe not my best move. Because we know that Frieza can just get rid of this, right? So we decided to just go all in and keep his hand down, right? If we can keep his hand relatively down while we still have stuff to kind of defend with, then we shouldn't be it shouldn't be nearly as bad for us. But Janemba also has the ability to just, you know, draw like crazy too. Like he's doing a lot. Yep, so now he gets double barrier, and now double barrier is really hard to get around. I'm actually counting down the days to when like we finally get some anti-barrier stuff in Fusion World, because when this situation happens, this can be a little bit hard to get around, just due to the fact that you can't interact with them and you have to deal with them in battle. And 30k is not easy to get over. So yeah, we just keep on swinging, we keep on swinging, we keep on swinging. Because what else is there really to do? We don't really have any, we can't lock these guys down. We can't really swing into them without comboing up, which is just, it's hard for us to kind of do. This Vegeta does nothing for us either, because once again, Frieza can just kind of get rid of it. Now, the other thing I probably could have done too was I probably could have, when he did the leader swing, I probably could have used Hell Rock Sasha, and I probably could have stopped this evil boost swing. But I figured the 25,000 would be like better for this situation here. Maybe he's got a bunch of 5Ks in his hand, right? So if he had like 5Ks, right? So like 1, 2, like what does he have here, right? So he's got 10, 10, 10, 10. So he had so many 10s here. What if these were all 5s, right? So 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. He would have only been at 60, and I would have been able to get up to 65, and that would have been our game, right? So that's why I chose not to use this against this. Is that wrong? Is that correct? I'm not 100% sure, but either way, like, he had this fight. And especially since he played something, right? But he sequenced that correctly. He had open energy to be able to go in. He didn't know necessarily what I had in hand, so him swinging first was definitely the play. But yeah, Janemba I think is a little bit harder for this matchup, just because Janemba's able to do what Vegeta does, just more aggressively. And I think that just works better in this current format. This current format is a lot more fast-paced than defensive, so... well, with that said, let's go on to the next one. Alright, so this next one we ended up fighting Namek Goku. And Namek Goku, I figured would be one of the easier matchups we had, but this game was really close, all things considered. We were on the edge of our seats towards the end. Like, the whole entire match, I think we were in relative control, and I didn't really have any sort of, issue with going into Namek Goku here, right? The one thing that I did forget while in this particular matchup was that the 3-cost Gohan is able to KO anything when he's at 2 life. So that did make things a little harder. But the whole entire strat that we had going into this fight was obviously 1-cost Friezas to get rid of any Murrays or troublesome cards. And then obviously, if we get our 6-cost down early enough, his double strike can't do anything. He's got no means of really being able to get to stopping the 6-cost Frieza, because the 6-cost Frieza, like, all of the interactions that Goku really has is for 4 costs or less. Chaozu is 5 costs or less. The only thing that can really get rid of this guy is the Gohan. So it can stop the double striker, which I think is good. Krillin was a bit annoying in this matchup, just because it was a consistent body that we couldn't really do a lot with. And then obviously we have this double swinger promo. This card's so good. I love this card so much. It's great. So now I'm kind of in a crossroads. I can remove something off his board, or I can go out of my way to freeze it down, which we decided to opt in to freeze everything down. I decided to swing into the Goku here just because on the off chance that we freeze it, maybe he'll let it go, he'll let it die. But he did not, so we got a free card, which I think works out fine. And he tried to restand it, but obviously he can't restand it on his turn because he's frozen down. So it's definitely was not the right move on his part. But like I said, getting a card out from his hand was good on our end. And so now he's starting to really get into it. We were able to rest down his Mori, which was good, which means we can get around Murray. We don't necessarily need to swing into him, into the Namek Goku. We just need to focus on board at this point. So obviously we start freezing stuff down, right? And if he wants to protect stuff, then he can protect stuff. That's perfectly fine for us too. And we decided to pass because we got 3 extra cards that we can kind of work off of. Obviously, we got a 35k that we got to deal with. But we can Hell Rock Sasha and we can freeze that down. That's not a big issue for us. We have the 1-cost Frieza that can get the Murray down. And here's the Double Striker. So, obviously, we can get over this with relative ease. All things considered. We did get rid of the Frieza. I thought we held on to that. I guess we didn't. Yep, but now we have a Golden Frieza, so we can actually play the Golden Frieza. And he's really getting defensive of this. And obviously he defends that, which makes perfect sense. But now we're actually protected. And he's only got 5 cards in hand. He's going to charge. So this is the part where I thought... This is the part where I completely forgot that the Gohan gets rid of anything at 2 life. So, we're still, so this is where I kind of messed up because now he's going to come in with a second Double Striker, which we can still defend. That's not an issue for us, but here's where I think his fatal flaw was, because what was in his hand? He had the Gohan and he had a 10k combo, right? So we obviously play this to get around the Mori. And now we'll take 1 swing. And now we're down to this, right? So he gets rid of the Gohan, he goes back up to 3 life. So now I have to really sit and I have to really think about what my next couple plays are going to be. Because we have a 20k swing, which he defended. No, it's still not our turn. So we have a 20k swing, a 30k swing, and then we have a bunch of other things for us to be able to swing in on. So we double cantripped, and unfortunately it didn't really get us anywhere. So I decided to go 45 here just in case he got a super combo, and we were just able to make it. So we went 50 and he had 45, so we had just enough to get over top. Really close match. I feel like there were a couple things there that I could have maybe done a little bit differently to make it a bit easier on ourselves, but we were able to kind of come out on top in the very end. It was a very, 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 very close match, all things considered. All right, let's go on to the last one. All right, so this last match that we're going into is against Halo Q. And Halo Q is another one that is a little hard for us to have to deal with. Mainly due to the fact that the double peel-off into Final Hope Slash is so ridiculously strong for what it is. You're able to just do that back to back to back, and you're able to do that 3-4 times in 1 turn is crazy. So that part hurts us quite a bit because that's a lot of combo power that we have to give out of our hand every single turn. So that was issue number 1 against these decks. The issue number 2 is that there's not many things worthwhile to freeze in this deck. Like, we're freezing 1 cost, which doesn't feel good to ever do. We have Videls, which can be decent, but he can just get the Videls back to his hand with like relative ease. So like that's not really all that hard to do. Gohan's good. Gohan's good for freezing. Vegeto's good for freezing. But obviously it really is just dependent on the build. Now, my strat going into these matches was we got to stall out as best as we can, because all of these Halo Q players, the ones that we fought, ended up really utilizing the girls with short hair card, and we were able to get them down to the single digits in their decks each game. So the only downside to stalling them out is just that they can just peel off loop into peel off loop into peel off loop, which is obviously, you know, something that we don't necessarily want to have to deal with. So with this particular match, we're just focusing as best as we can on just getting rid of the sharpeners, getting rid of the peel-offs as best we can, getting rid of the Videls so that he loses out on recursion, and just make it so that way he has to be like a bit reliant on other things. I did have a misplay there where I played this to try and get Final Explosion back, and obviously Final Explosion doesn't actually... Final Explosion cannot be picked up with this card. It's 2 costs or less. Honestly, that should have been 3 costs or less, personally, in my opinion. But I guess they were just trying to future-proof it, I guess. I'm not 100% sure where their mindset was, but... Yep, so we're just, you know, defending where we can. And now we got some cards that we got to get rid of. So, for me... And he's starting to get defensive too, so that was the other reason why we kind of played to the stall method and just stalling him out to help try to get him to deck out. He was kind of like helping us and facilitating us for that. So, for me, that was perfectly fine. I utilized these death balls to try to like rest down the sharpeners and stuff because I wanted to have something for us to be able to swing into. And obviously, if we get rid of all the sharpeners, then he can't cheat out stuff. He can't cheat out girls with short hair or Great Saiyaman either. So, for us, we're just stalling out as best as we possibly can. Yep, so we got girls with short hair again. Just is what it is. And he's got 3 sharpeners out, which is not good. So we're hoping and praying for a Final Explosion on our next draw. Because the crazy part is that he's already got 1 in here. So I'm like, okay, he's got 3 sharpeners out on the board. This is not good for him. So what we can easily do is we can just if we can get Final Explosion, we get rid of the Videl, we get rid of a sharpener, we swing in with the sharpener, into the sharpener with everything we got on board, and just kind of go from there, right? And we did top deck it. So... Yep, so we decide to, obviously, punish him for defending that Videl. He keeps 1 sharpener on board, but obviously we can get around it, so there's ways for us to get around it. He has another Videl. He found every single one of his Videls in this particular matchup. So what is that? 1, 2. This is his 3rd Videl. And here's where the peel-off loop starts getting very, like, annoying. Like, this is, like, all he does for the remainder of the game, to an extent. So, and just replays out Videl. And girls with short hair, he's down to 11 cards in hand, or in this deck. Yep, so we got rid of all of the sharpeners. All the sharpeners are done, so all we do is just make sure we remove all the recursion. And we leave it at that. Yep, so now he has to rely on peel-off loop to do the thing that he wants to do. This is why when people say that they want peel-off to be banned, like, this is the reason why I, like, advocate it. He did mess up there. If you missed that, he did play Final Hope Slash and put himself back. He didn't have to put himself back in the hand, but he did. So that was a mistake on his part. And now he can start doing it again. Because now you just bounce the rested peel-offs back in hand. And then he tried to short or girls with short hair, but obviously he doesn't have Satan City stuff, so he couldn't get the draw. Yep, so for us, I think did we play the Frieza here? We did misplay because we tried to remove it, but then obviously we're trying to thin his hand down. Get his hand thinned down as best we can. I'm not choosing to swing into him. There's no reason for me to swing into him. And now my biggest concern, my biggest worry was another 6-cost Vegito. Another 6-cost Vegito was probably going to be the death of us. And I was hoping, and that was the other reason why I was afraid to, like, awaken him. Because, like, if his Vegito was in his life, I didn't want to necessarily give that to him. And obviously going down to 1 is also kind of deadly against blue. But, I mean, I didn't want to have to give super combos up. I didn't want to have to get rid of this in any particular way. Like, we need cards that are going to help us remove these decks, right? So we got 3 time rewinds, which is definitely going to help us going into the next turn. So we decided to play that and get our Death Ball just to have it. And this is where I think, this is what ended up, I think, costing us the match here, was there was no reason for me to really play this. There was no reason for us to really play this, just due to the fact that, again, due to the fact that we needed the energy up to be able to activate all these. If we would have kept everything up here, we could have had it. So, like, you'll see here in a sec. So now he starts doing recursion. I start getting my stuff on board back to give us combo power later. And this is where Vegito comes in. So he goes for a 60 swing here. And so this is what I mean. So we have 1 energy open. I think we end up trying to... We don't use it? Yeah. But because he's now going to be a 50k swinger, and depending on what he had in hand, this is going to be tough. This was going to be tough for us to get around. So obviously 40, 60, 80, 90. So that's the thing, guys. Like, if I didn't play that Vegeta, I would have been able to Death Ball, and I would have been able to get over that, and that would have been our game, because then all we would have needed to do was just go in on, try to go in on Vegito here, and that would have been game because he was at 0. So learn from my mistakes. Learn from my mistakes. Don't overextend your plays. Just don't overextend your plays. All right, so let's talk about the deck. All right, guys, so that is the deck profile and gameplay for the yellow Vegeta. Little bit of a shorter video this time around. I have some minor time constraints this week, so I wasn't able to really showcase like a whole lot of this deck. But I mean, this deck is pretty good. I think Super Boo and Janemba are technically better decks just because of the way the meta is. It's a very fast-paced meta, and yellow Vegeta being a bit slower with his freezing, with his energy recursion, with his extra card loop, gameplay loop. Like, it really limits you in terms of being able to play fast. So I think there's a couple things we could have maybe tweaked here that would have made this deck a little bit better. I know some people are running the Bio Broly package in all this. I think that can probably work really well because that allows you to at least get a couple plays out. You probably don't need to be as reliant on the secret rare as I was kind of making it out to be, just due to the fact that just because like you have to play this guy a little bit slower when you do play him. But outside of that, I mean, I think the deck is relatively fine. Probably could make a couple changes here and there, but it just is what it is. The meta just is what it is, and we kind of have to play within the confines of the meta. So let me know what you guys think down below. Also, I want to thank you guys all for 400 subscribers. I do greatly appreciate the love and support that you guys bring to the channel. If we are able to get to 500 subscribers by the time set 6 comes around, then I will be giving away one booster box of set 6 to one of you guys who subscribes to the channel. So keep that in mind. But if you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a like, subscribe if you enjoyed, and I will see you guys all in the next Fusion World video. Peace.